Hey, we're back. All right, so today I think all I'm going to focus on is just finishing these clumps here. I already laid these out before the stream so I could have the setup, but laying these out is the same as what we did with everything else. It's nothing special. I just copy pasted the guides we had already and just laid them out with the same growth mesh all over the place. These three in particular will be a little different from the others because these we're only going to do one strand per guide. Hence, we only have one here. So this is going to be like our straight hair, which we'll use for like flyaways. And then these will just be shorter versions of these for like these shorter clumps in the front here. This one's going to be one strand per guide too, I think. So let's get those done really quick. That's the most important part as far as showing you something new. But it's pretty similar to how we set it up with the to do our curly guide, except we're not adding curl to it, obviously. So these are pretty easy to make. Extend, card textures. Main 1, main 2, main 3, main 4, fill 1, fill 2. Those 4. So we'll call this our tertiary, like our tertiary detail. Okay, so that's selected. I want to make sure everything has frozen history and everything. History and freeze transformations, and modify freeze transformations. Okay. I'm going to take all of these actually too and rebuild them. So we're just using GS curve tools as before, but you can do it from the curve rebuild menu here too. I'm just cranking that up to max. If I need to make changes, I'll lower it, make the changes, and then rebuild it back to 50. I'm also using a new setup for my encoders and stuff for the stream, so hopefully the visuals come out cleaner. From what I'm seeing on the stream on my end, it seems better, so hopefully that's the case. Okay. I'll create description. Tertiary 1. I don't know if I'm spelling tertiary right, but that's tertiary. That's what I'm spelling it. Tertiary, I think is how it's spelled, but could be wrong. I'm not very good at knowing how to spell things off the top of my head, to be honest. I always have to use like Google or something to check it. So the nice thing about these is you don't really have to apply modifiers to them. Usually, you can if you want to, like we do that for the curly guys, but for these, I wouldn't bother with that. Let's see. Let's adjust these a little bit first. Speaking of rebuilding these. Just want to balance out the shape a little bit from side to side, so it's not leaning so hard into one angle at the bottom, because this should be usable universally like throughout the hair. Okay, I think that works. Let's rebuild that back up to 50. Under utilities, we're in tertiary description. Turn that off. App guides. Okay, cool. Hide that. Hide that. Set generate primitives to at guide location. Cool, that's what we want. Turn off tube shading. Let's set our size. Are we set to 0.005 across most of them? Yeah, we're just using 0.05. We might have to go a bit thicker in the end, but we'll do that after the fact. Like, we'll do our entire groom first, and then if we need to make adjustments to these textures as we're working on our groom, or after the fact, like after we render it in Unreal, we need to adjust densities or the thickness of hairs. We'll just do that after the fact. There's no reason to have to solidify anything now. You just kind of want to guesstimate what you need the best you can in the beginning, and then as you work through it, you'll probably find things you need to adjust. That will almost always happen. So obviously there's not enough. You see some stepping here. Let's fix that. There you go. Cool. That's it. That's that one, right? So do tertiary 3, 2 and 3, and then this will be like singles. Create description. Tertiary 2. Facing and shaping guides. Just okay. Those are fine. Oh, that first one disappeared because we need to turn off this checkbox. Okay. I want to move that base up a little bit. It doesn't make a massive difference, but I just want it more level with the other one. Let's rebuild this first. And just for the record, you don't need to have the root perfectly on top of the mesh you're growing from. It'll automatically snap to the closest point. Yeah, that's fine. Let's move this one a little bit too. Move this a little bit to the right. Simple, straightforward. Let's adjust these a little bit too. I'll just use soft select. If you don't feel like rebuilding, using like heavy soft select is a good method. Cool, that works for me. This is simple, so it doesn't matter. All right. Okay, tertiary 2. That guide location. Let's rebuild these to max. Set this to 25 like the other one. That doesn't matter. Set this to low. Tube. Shade off. Make sure we got the right mesh applied. Yep. Hide those. Set our preview output to that. There we go. That's the next set. Great description. Tertiary 3. Make sure those are rebuilt. Off. Those. There we go. Same thing here. Single. Doesn't really matter. This doesn't need any added CVs, but we'll do 25 just to match it. And I'm adding 25 for certain things. I don't know if it'll make a difference really, but for things like the ramp texture, I don't know if it'll help to give that a more even stepping in the gradient from root to tip. I'm just doing it just in case. Doesn't really make a massive difference, I don't think. Yeah, I think this is fine. Yeah, 2, 0, 5. We're also gonna have to go through all of these and set our rendering to Arnold like that. Hit this auto set button. Yeah, you do that to everything too. That's for when we actually render out our textures through Arnold. Okay. So we already got those done. We're just gonna remake these 3 medium shaped ones. You could probably even get away with this, but I want some that are a little shorter for these shorter clumps. I'm gonna even shorten those a little bit. In my personal opinion, I think it's always better to kind of err on the side of keeping your clumps. If you're trying to match the length of the clump to the length of the actual hair, I think it's generally better to go err on the side of making it a little bit too short, because when you lengthen a texture, it stretches it and then it looks fine for the most part, but when you crunch it down, it can look a little wonky sometimes. So that's the reason. So always err a little bit on the side of going shorter, in my opinion. Basically, the one way to think about it is these curvatures. Like if you crunch these down, like these curvatures get exaggerated. Whereas if you lengthen them, like they look straighter and straighter, right? That's why I recommend erring on the side of keeping them shorter. Okay, I want to do something to this. Keep this one a little thinner. Let's thin this one out a little bit. Let's actually do it like this. I'm using GS Curve tools to select all the tips. Kind of push those together a little bit. Yeah, this one I wanted to keep a little bit spread out like that. That's fine. Select. There we go. So this one's going to give us a slightly wider broken out base. This one's going to be slimmer. This one's going to have a wider tip, which will be useful for like some of this stuff here with the fringe. But most of the hair tapers into like pretty narrow tips with the clumps. So I'm having at least one like that. And then we can create more variations of stuff by combining different clumps together. I think I showed you that last time. Okay. So these will be like our secondary clumps. Secondary one. Hold on, before we do that, let's do the usual. Shift Alt D to delete history. Then freeze transformations. Oops, that shouldn't have happened. I'm just selecting and pressing the up arrow so I can select the parent group and make sure the transformations, everything are frozen on those too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, everything else looks fine. All right. I didn't do it with this, but also it's probably a good idea to name these growth caps appropriately. Like I just left them as P plane. And this is like P plane 11, P plane 10. So I don't really have any good reference in my outliner to what each of these are. So that was a mistake on my part. But that's what I recommend you do too. Okay. I don't see anyone asking questions at this point, so we're just going to keep going. I'm going to save here too. I'm going to create all of them right now. Secondary 2. Secondary 3. All right. Just going to run through these real quick. Okay, 15. Tube shade off. 25. Tube shave off. Oops. I'll probably have to check that box again after, There's just nothing generated yet. Okay, so let's go back to secondary 1. Start with that one. Let's start plugging in our curves. Secondary 1, these, and cool. Secondary 2, and secondary 3, and behind all those, start generating our clumps now. I'll keep this pretty low, but let's start. Let's see, did we save out clumps from the other stuff? So many presets. Hold on. Oh, I think we're using the page boy stuff, right? Let me see what I did for the mains. So, page boy, card textures, clumping 1. Copy this. Save. 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 Secondary. I'm gonna turn off the auto update for a second. Here we go. Card text, page boy card textures. Oops. Page boy card textures, clumping 2, clumping 3. Noise. Cut. Guide. Generate. Generate. Looking better overall. I want to fix our cut. Turn on auto update again. Let's try different generator seeds. Looks a little better. Cut's probably too aggressive because this is shorter. Oops. Okay, cool. All right, set a stray percentage. Do anything. What do we have for our main? 35. All right, let's try 35. Oops. Oops. I want to keep this one fairly narrow towards the tip a little bit. Looks a little crazy from the side, but from the front is what we care about. This is good to have like this amount of difference because it does kind of help like create more of a depth with the depth texture, but we do need to be careful with it clipping the plane it's in front of. So let's see. Oh, that's the noise from that. Okay. So let's reduce the magnitude. Okay, and we can just move that forward a little bit. That's good enough. Probably move all of these a little bit forward. Okay. So that's good. That'll make some nice depth contrast too. Okay. So I think that's good enough for that one. Let's play with the density a little bit. I think that's fine. Again, we can come back and adjust these after the fact if we need to. So same thing. Just clicking this auto set button to have the hairs generated. Okay. Same thing, no major issues. It doesn't make a huge difference in noise actually, because these aren't dense enough really. So you could actually probably just not worry about that with when the density is this low, but we'll keep it in for now. It's not hurting anything either. Okay. No comments. Okay. Let's keep going. Three. I like 2. 2 looks good. I'm going to keep it less dense than this version, and let's lower the density of 2. Let's try just straight 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. Let's go 1.35. All right. Again, the point of these is to have shorter versions of these. So these will be nice for the longer hairs, and these will be nice for the shorter hairs around the front area. And for some of the layering. But yeah, I guess that's it. I think we're good to bake. Okay. I could start the baking process of stream, but I think I'm just going to save it for next week because I kind of want to script that out a little bit so I can go through it more smoothly instead of kind of just doing it off the cuff like I am all this stuff. But yeah, I'll do that next week, and then I don't think that'll take the whole thing, but we'll do that, and then after we do the texture baking, we'll also set up our clumps in the scene with the textures themselves, right? And then the next stream after that, we'll be ready to start just placing hair cards. And we'll be ready to start placing hair card clumps. So I think this works, yeah. I need to kind of ease back into streaming because I was out for a couple weeks, and yeah, just work has been crazy, but I won't dwell on that too much. Again, if you want to get help on your hair stuff, join the Discord in the description, the link. And if you have any other questions about what we did today, just post it in the comments or come into Discord and ask on there. Discord is probably always the best place to ask me anything or to talk to me, ask me questions about your projects, share your projects, anything like that. Totally up to you. But yeah, so that's good. So we're ready to start baking next week, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you.